Hi everybody, welcome back for another video. Today I want to talk about the continuum of force that I've talked about before, but I want to use a few objects to try to emphasize the big gap that exists right now in terms of our continuum of force and our understanding of how to bridge that gap. This is an area on YouTube and in general, I don't see a lot of effort. I see a lot of people focused on less lethals, which is all of these round projectiles and variations of that. These are all 68 caliber, and these are very good less lethals because using round balls are not going to penetrate very well. That's not our goal. Our goal is to just deliver a kinetic energy dump, create pain, create a distraction, and get away. And then you've got channels and people focused on lethals, and that's all of these over here. And whether it's shotguns or pistols or everything in between, this is all lethal. But there's a big gap in between here, and that's where we really don't spend a lot of time talking about this. Sure, we have a continuum on the firearm scale, and so there are people that are pro-firearm and really don't understand less lethal, and they say, well, we do have a continuum here. We can go from a shotgun, we can go to a rifle, we can go down to 9mm, we can go all the way down to 22. We have a range, so we could use different weapons for different options, and you can't argue with that logic. That's a very reasonable logic, but all of that is defined as a firearm as all lethal. Everything over here is considered less lethal. You've got your kinetic projectiles and other 3-gram projectiles, including PepperBalls of different amounts of PAVA powder. These are the 5% Live X projectiles. You've got things like the Joules, which are now you're adding weight and you're getting more force delivered than you do with a 3-gram projectile, but you're also staying within a comfortable, safe, less lethal range. Now, of course, a shot to the head is going to be lethal with these at high joules. 20, 30 joules is very dangerous. But all things considered, for most shots that you're going to hit, body shots, these things are going to do the job, and they're not going to be lethal. They may break a bone, they may cause some damage, but that goes with the territory. Lethals, these things can be lethal at any point, any shot, no matter the caliber. It's going to pass through the body. It's going to cavitate. It's going to create damage. It's going to have a potential of breaking blood vessels that are critical, and you can bleed out. And so this is a big, obviously a very popular method for stopping someone. And you do this when you encounter a lethal threat. You're supposed to do this when you encounter a non-lethal threat. But there's a big gap in between.
And I personally think that this right here will do the job if you learn how to use it properly, learn how to maintain it. Let me give you a few words of advice if you're thinking of getting into less lethal, important information that you need to consider first. So today, just let me talk a little bit about the less lethals if you want to get into this. If you're a firearm owner and you want to consider that as an option and you want to get away from buying ammo and you want to get into less lethals, let me tell you.
The reality is any of these markers that you buy from any vendor, you're going to have to strip it, maintain it. If there's some claim that there's a proprietary change been made that provides high power, well, you're going to figure it out when you strip it and you clean it. And if you're not stripping it and cleaning it, it's going to fail on you, and it's probably going to fail on you anyway. So you just have to weigh that, know that going in. Don't buy into the fact that you're buying it based on a salesman's pitch. Buy it because you understand it inside and out from what you've read and learned, or you plan to do. And I always maintain buy the stock, buy stock, upgrade it according to what you learn, add barrels, add parts, but don't buy the whole thing as one unit from a secondary market. That's just my word of advice in terms of getting the most out of it. because you will understand it better, because you will be the one who built it from ground up. You will know everything, every mod that's been made. You will know how to get the part to fix it, and you'll also learn how to source parts so that you're not dependent on secondary markets. It's not hard to find a lot of these parts. You just have to go and do a little bit of the legwork. And in the long run, you'll save money by doing it, but of course it takes your time and effort.
There's another really important point I want to make about these less lethals and why I choose the PepperBall brand. I prefer to buy products that have already been vetted by people who do this for a living. The military and the police choose to use PepperBall launchers for their protection and their service, and they've been vetted and they have contracts and they buy these. That means a lot to me. Also, I think from a legal standpoint, these are sold as less lethal launchers. They have the name PepperBall on them. And to me, I think from a legal standpoint, that also means a lot. If I would have to use these in an encounter and and then have to deal with the police afterwards, have to deal with prosecutors, I can explain that these were purchased as less lethals. They were used as less lethals. They were used within the confines of the power that they have. There may be some modifications, but for the most part, these are as is. In contrast, if you buy a First Strike or something that is marketed as for paintball, that's a completely different story. When you modify those for high power, then you've now taken a paintball marker and modified it in a way that it was not originally intended. I believe there are significant legal concerns about that, and that's just something that I personally chose to avoid, and that's why I went with the PepperBall brand. I know that functionally PepperBall TCP is functionally basically equivalent to the First Strike FSC, and I know that you can build them out into rifled formats, but why not go with this? I know there's a little bit of a premium for that brand name, but I think in the end, when you consider the legal cost and concerns down the line, should you have to use these, I think it's more than worth making the investment. Same thing goes for launchers like Byrna, which do have contracts with police. They're sold and marketed for that purpose. So I would just caution everyone about paintball markers in general. If they're for paintball or they're an airsoft gun or they're not for self-defense purposes, be very careful. So you just have to be wary. And I think I personally chose to err on the side of going with this product that is marketed as less lethal. And because of that, it might not be available in some places or some countries as well. So that also presents a problem in actually acquiring these. But here in the United States, that's not been an issue. Unboxing some practice ammo. Plan to do quite a bit of shooting just for practice. Got 1,000 rounds. Ammo prices have come back down. If you keep track of the prices for 9mm ammo and you look at the prices pre-pandemic and then the prices post-pandemic, they've pretty much come back down to where they were in early 2020. So it's a good time to start buying ammo. Definitely wasn't the right time in late 2020, but now is getting to be a good time.